and we're excited to bring this presentation. I also have our product manager with us, Bob Borden, better known as Bullet Bob, and we're excited to have our presentation with Sandy Riley. A couple of things is everybody is muted during the presentation, and so we will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. It is recorded, and you will get a follow-up recording tomorrow around noon Pacific time. And then we will have, if I haven't already said this, a Q&A at the end of the presentation, and I will read off any questions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put that into the dashboard, and we will go ahead and answer those information, and also, of course, also have some contact information. So with that said, I'm going to turn this over to Sandy, and Sandy, you should have the controls.
Kia ora, everybody. That's welcome in the Cook Islands. I'm just gonna, I don't seem to have the controls yet. Brad? Just
all right, you want me to, I'll go ahead and move them for you, so.
Thank you very much, I'd appreciate that. It's always good to have an assistant.
Yes.
So I'm going to present the Cook Islands to everybody this morning, and we're going to talk about two properties, Lagoon Breeze, which is a fabulous little lead-in property, and Crown Beach, which is your luxury option. If we can go on to the next slide, Brad, it'd be awesome. Right, so to just briefly explain how you get to the Cook Islands, there's a direct flight from Los Angeles to Rarotonga. Rarotonga is the main island in the group of the 15 islands of the Cook Islands. And it's a direct flight. It's approximately 8.5 hours. It is a night flight, which is wonderful because you board the plane, have a glass of wine, watch a movie, have dinner, have a sleep, and you wake up in the morning and you're in the Cook Islands. It also can make a great stopover if you're sending people to New Zealand, because there are daily flights from Auckland to Rarotonga and lots of different flight options there. Alternatively, there is a flight from Sydney once a week to Rarotonga as well, if you were combining it with an Australian option. I'm going to see, no, I still can't get my controls to work. Thanks, Brad, that's great. Whoops, yep, I've got control of it now, Brad, I think. So there's 15 islands in the group of the Cook Islands. They were discovered by Captain Cook back in 1777. The main island of Rarotonga is approximately, and I've got to speak in kilometres, so I'm just going to convert it, it's 32 kilometres around, so I think that's roughly 20 miles. The Cook Islanders were a subsidiary of New Zealand, and so Cook Islanders carry New Zealand passports. The language is English or Cook Island Māori. The international airport you can see just up here by the township of Awaranga. Okay, I think I'm good with the controls now, Brad. Right, lots of things to do in the Cook Islands. A very popular way to get around the island is mopeds, which you can see down there on the left-hand side. The Cook Islanders are very passionate about their sports, their family, and also they are a Christian-based society, and so church on Sunday and having a family day on Sunday is very, very important to them. Now, as I mentioned, the language spoken is English or Cook Island Māori. The wonderful thing about the Cook Islands was it was settled by the Tahitians in their canoe coming down from the north and the New Zealand Māori coming up from the south. So what you've got in their culture is this beautiful hip-swinging, drum-beating music and gorgeous Polynesian people of the Tahitians. And then you've got the more warrior style of the New Zealand Māori. Which is probably why they're so competitive in their sports. Now, there are ATMs and EFTPOS machines on Rarotonga and the other main island of Aitutaki. So as far as having to get New Zealand currency before going, it isn't necessary. If they've got an ATM card that works in an international bank machine, they will be able to withdraw New Zealand currency. The other nice thing is if they are combining it with a New Zealand itinerary, it's only one currency that they're going to be using, which is New Zealand dollars. The wonderful things about the Cook Islands, to me, is there's no building higher than the tallest coconut tree. There's no traffic lights, and there's no chain restaurants like McDonald's. There's lots to do in the Cook Islands. It's a fabulous place to snorkel. The tropical fish life is beautiful. The lagoons are crystal clear. There's kayaking, there's windsurfing, there's kiteboarding, there's game fishing. Now the picture down here you can see is on the left-hand side is the whales. So the humpback whales come up from the Southern Ocean on their migration to Tonga, and they pass right past the Cook Islands. So there are places in the Cook Islands that you can actually sit at your resort having breakfast, and you can watch the whales arcing and breaching directly off the beach. Now the migration of the whales normally happens between July to September. And it is really spectacular to watch. The Cook Islanders believe that the whales should be left to spawn and play and quite naturally. So there is no there's no tours that go out, and there's no need for them because you can sit on the beach and watch the whales from the beach. So some of the unique things about the Cook Islands, if you've got some of your clients thinking, well, why would I go to the Cook Islands and what's different about it, and why wouldn't I go to another Pacific island like Samoa or Tahiti? It's largely undiscovered by North Americans, which is wonderful. You're not trapped in an expensive resort like other destinations. The main island of Rarotonga is considered to be the whole of the resort. So doesn't matter where your client is staying, we actively encourage people to pick up their snorkel gear, jump on their moped or catch the local bus and head off to another part of the island where they can snorkel, where they can go into other hotels and resorts. And as long as they're ordering something from the food and beverage, they're welcome to use those services and that resort's beach for the day. You can be in your resort in no time at all because of the distance of the island. We laugh, we say, well, if you miss your resort on the first swing around, just keep going because you're going to come round to it again. So from the time that they get off the plane to being in their resort, having cleared customs and gone through immigration, it's going to be about 45 minutes. I love this picture. This is, oops, I'm just going to go back. This is Lydia and Nani. Both of these women work for Cook Island Tourism, and one of those women greet every flight arriving to the Cook Islands. So when your guest arrives in Rarotonga, they're going to disembark from their plane, go through immigration, and then they're going to come out into the arrivals area. And one of these beautiful Pacific Island, Cook Island women are going to say, Kia ora, welcome to our island. Where are you staying? How can I direct you? And they're employed by Cook Island Tourism to be the official meeters and greeters for the island, which is fantastic. You can see the laughter and the fun in there. So now we're going to move on to where would you put your guests to stay. So Lagoon Breeze is a set of 24 villas. They are opposite the beach, and I just want to point this out to you because you can see the main road just along here. Not a particularly busy road, and directly across the road is the beach. So although it's not beachfront, from the 2-bedroom, 2-level villas, you can actually see the beach. And in many other destinations, you would be staying at a beachfront property and being a lot further away from actually accessing the beach than what you are. So this property is a little 3-star. It is owner operated by a New Zealand couple, Debbie and Garth Rinkelman, who are phenomenal. It is situated right on the very edge of what we call Aroa. So it's the beginning of the marine reserve, and you have this gorgeous, sweeping, clear crystal lagoon and marine reserve at Waimanga and Titikaveka. So as I mentioned, it is right opposite the beach. The wonderful thing is it's on a marine reserve, so fantastic snorkeling directly off from this property. Now we do talk about Lagoon Breeze being home away from home. Every one of their villas has the ability to be self-contained. It is set on 4 acres of tropical lush gardens. And in the follow-up email that Brad is going to send you, you are actually going to get a little video link which you can play a 2-minute video and it flies you through the property. So you get an appreciation for those lush gardens and its location. This property recently underwent a refurbishment, so there's new furniture in all of the rooms. All of the rooms are very, very spacious. The garden studio sleep 3 people. They do have a king-size bed in the room and a single trolley bed can be brought into this room. Each of the villas, no matter what room category, have these lovely lanais and patio areas out in front of them for your guests to just enjoy being outside. The 1-bedroom garden villas, these sleep 4 people. We do find out of the North American market, your guests like to have a little bit more space, so this tends to be one of our most popular room categories. Now we do have a 2-bedroom, 1 level, which sleeps 5. Personally, this is my favorite room category because you have these gorgeous, lovely big balconies. The ranch sliders open right up and you can step straight outside. So there's a lot of indoor-outdoor living and a lot of space around the villas. We do have a 2-bedroom, 2-level option. This is very traditional. It's got thatched roofing. Downstairs is a bedroom with an ensuite. You've got your dining area, your lounge, and your kitchen, and then you go upstairs to a studio-style master bedroom with its own ensuite as well. And from the top of those balconies, you can actually see the beach. Now, there is lots to do from this property. As I mentioned, it is on a marine reserve. There's snorkeling, swimming, kayaking. It is on the sunset side of the island, so you do get beautiful sunsets all year round. The nice thing about this property is they include a complimentary use of the kayaks and snorkeling equipment. Now, there is a complimentary daily tropical breakfast. So for people who aren't aware what a tropical breakfast is, basically it's a continental breakfast, but without the meat or eggs. So it's fresh fruit, muffins, banana bread, cereals, juices. This here is Ivy. He works at the property and has for a number of years, and he bakes these scoffins every morning. And I can tell you, if you go down at 7 o'clock and they've just come out of the oven, that delicious smell of a papaya-filled muffin, or sometimes he puts grated coconut, toasted coconut in them as well. So they're delicious. There are barbecues dotted around the property, and we do find that these are very, very popular for guests because all rooms have self-catering. We don't have a restaurant on site other than this breakfast cafe. Now, there are lots of dining options close by, but there are supermarkets on the island, and people can self-cater if they wish to. The breakfast cafe turns into a happy hour tiki bar. So that's open from 4 till 6, and I have to tell you, last year when I was traveling to this property, I was traveling on my own, and at 4 o'clock I went down to the bar, and I thought, well, I'll just sit here and do some work because, as I said, I was traveling on my own. Well, I have to tell you, it's a very social little bar. I was sitting there for approximately about 20 minutes, typing away, finishing some work, and the next thing I know, a guest came up, closed my computer, put a cocktail down in front of me and said, I think it's time that you finished work, love, and came and joined us. So I was invited, you know, as a single woman traveling on my own, to join other people and be quite social. So if you are looking for a property and you've got single travelers, they will be included. They will feel like they are part of the family. Equally, this is wonderful for small groups wanting to travel together, or alternatively, couples. Now, fancy a swim. There's a lovely big swimming pool. The owner-operators, Deb and Garth, take real pride in making sure that this property always looks pristine. As far as they're concerned, the guests are basically staying in their home with them. So they've owned the property for 4 years, and I can tell you they recently just redid all of the outside furniture as well as the umbrellas. And I didn't personally think there was any need to, but that just shows how they're always constantly upgrading the property. This is very, very popular and has a lot of return guests because it is such a consistent product. This is a really good example of the other things there are to do. There's kayaking, and as I mentioned, we do complimentary kayaks. And there you can see just by the reception area, there is an area where the snorkeling equipment and fins can be kept for guests. So I like to bring up this slide because over the Christmas period, we actually had a record number of North American guests at the property, and so we asked them why they felt that Lagoon was a good fit for them. And these are some of the comments. There's no hawkers. They loved the fact that no one was begging or approaching guests or trying to sell them something. In fact, they found that the locals were quite reluctant to sell them things or push their wares on them. Cook Islanders are quite naturally shy, except when they're dancing and they're playing sport. There was no crowds. They weren't having to go to a beach and put their towel down 3 hours before they wanted to go to the beach. There was often they were on the beaches and they felt that they were the only person on the island, which was wonderful. They felt very safe. It was the friendliness and openness of the local people that they could pick up their snorkel equipment or their beach towel and they could walk anywhere around the island and they felt safe the whole time. They found the exchange rate was good. At the moment, I think the New Zealand dollar is running at about 70 cents to the US. So, you know, you're making a third on the exchange rate. The food, they were really surprised by the selection of restaurants and the high quality of food. The Cook Islanders, the specialties for me as far as food goes is the local pork is fantastic and the fresh fish is amazing. But everything else is imported to the islands from either New Zealand or Australia. So you have beautiful New Zealand and Australian wines that you can buy at the local wholesaler or liquor stores, and you get gorgeous New Zealand lamb, venison, and other foods, beef that is coming from Australia, and the New Zealand lamb. They love the freedom. They love the freedom to be able to travel on the local bus. They could flag the bus down, the bus would stop, it would drop them off anywhere else on the island. So there's two buses. There's the clockwise bus and the anti-clockwise bus, and they go alternatively around the island. They liked the price. There was no hidden taxes and there was no tipping. So the price that they saw was the price that they paid. The friendliness of the people that we've mentioned. They loved the breakfast cafe and the happy hour. They found that this was a great way to meet new people and catch up with old friends. They appreciated the lush gardens of the property. They liked the attention to detail that an owner-operator has when they live on site. So they loved the home away from home feel. So if you've got clients that are looking at going to the Cook Islands and they have a set budget, this is a phenomenal property to look at putting them into. So that is Lagoon Breeze. And just to briefly sum up the key selling points, the property considers itself to be a village. It is owner operated, it's a home away from home feel. There is self-catering option to obviously keep that price point down, but there's lots of local dining close by. What this means is there's restaurants that will actually come and do a pick up and drop off service from the property from the end of the driveway to pick up guests to go to their restaurants. So there we go. That's the lead-in property. Now I'm going to take you to another part of the island. We're going to go to Ararangi, which is closer up towards the airport. And this is where you can just see here how beautifully close the reef comes in. So this is a prime place to sit during that whale season that I mentioned, watching the whales arcing and breaching off the beach. So Crown Beach is a 4.5 star. This is your special occasion, your client who likes to travel at a luxury level. They have no children under 16 at the property, so it's an adults only. It is a time to reconnect with each other if it's a special occasion, an anniversary, and I'd actively encourage you to give us as many details as you possibly can through your All About reservations team. If it is an anniversary, if it is a special occasion, if it's a birthday, we love to know that because we like to make our guest experience very special. The property has 34 villas, and it's laid out. The entrance is right at the road, and there's a day spa, and then you come down through the 2 restaurants and then down to the beach. So it is absolute beachfront. And I think we've got stuck, so please excuse me. Oh, there we go. So the first room category is our garden studios. Now, these are traditional in style. They have thatched roofs. They're situated around the swimming pool generally, or in the gardens. You do step in through your front door into a living area, and with a dining room and also a self-catering option. There are kitchens in this room. There's a separate bedroom and ensuite. But for me, it's our courtyard pool suite villas that are really special. Can you imagine walking down a beautiful little coral pathway, opening a big set of doors and stepping into your own villa with your own plunge pool? So for couples, this offers a fabulous level of privacy and intimacy. The interior of the units are all Italian slate and marble. They have a beautiful gazebo outside, and we can do a private dining option in the gazebo if guests would like that. Then we have our beachfront villas. So I know for many North Americans that are traveling to the islands, they want to be absolute beachfront. So we do have 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom options. The 2-bedroom options, if you have an extended family group, perhaps they're on their way to New Zealand, they're going to stop at the Cook Islands on their return, and you have mum and dad with adult children, we do have a 2-bedroom beachfront villa available. Now, there are 2 restaurants on site, and Flambe is a fine dining restaurant. I personally would rate it as one of the top 3 restaurants on the island. They do lots of really interesting different dishes. They have ostrich on their menu, they have venison, New Zealand lamb. I do actively encourage people to book, because we only have a very small, we only take 18 tables. Now, we do not allow external patrons over under 16 in this. So again, it is an adults restaurant, and we have fire dancing there on a Saturday. Ocean's Restaurant, Bar and Brasserie. This is where we serve our breakfast every morning, and it is a cooked breakfast. Crown Beach is one of the only properties on the island that does a full cooked breakfast. Many are just a tropical breakfast. We also have some fabulous theme nights in this restaurant, and I also love the location, because if you just have a look, oh, I'm just going to go back. Have a look down here. I have sat there having breakfast, watching the whales arcing and breaching off that wave break that you can just see in the foreground there. So Ocean's Restaurant does have nightly entertainment. They do have music 6 days a week. They host a wonderful island night. I think it's one of the best on the island. It is only, I'm just going to convert to US dollars, it's approximately $40 for the meal and the show goes on for over 3 hours. But this particular dance group that come to Crown Beach are very young talent on the island, and the wonderful thing is Cook Island Tourism will often pick these dancers to take with them overseas when they do road shows. So as we mentioned, Crown Beach really is a property where it's about time to relax and reconnect with your loved one. We do have a day spa on site, and we have beautiful pamper packages with a reflexology, and we do acupressure as well. So if you've got couples, we can book a couples pamper package as well, and that's situated right at the front of the property. Now, they do specialise in weddings and honeymoons. If you've got a couple that just want to slip away and get married on the island, it's very simple to do. It only takes 3 days to get all the documentation through, and we can get a wedding license approved very easily. We do specialise in creating really memorable honeymoons. We do this gorgeous silver service dining option on the beach, which is fantastic. So key selling points for me on this particular property is it's adults only. It's only 10 minutes from the airport to town, so from the time they disembark that plane and are drinking their first cocktail, it really is only about 40 minutes. It's on the sunset side of the island, so you have tropical sunsets all year round. Ocean's Restaurant is open daily for meals and has fantastic views of the ocean. Flambe Restaurant is another fine dining option, so you've got the two options on site, which is wonderful. It's on a pristine beachfront. We do have a day spa on site, and we have an on-site very small conferencing facility too, if you've got needing a conferencing or mice market option. So that pretty much concludes my presentation. With All About Tours, we have some fantastic specials in market. And Bob, do you want to run through these specials?
You bet. What you're looking at right now is the low season special for Lagoon Breeze. We have based it on the Garden Studio unit, and it is 15% off of the lodging portion. It does include round-trip airfare from Los Angeles with Air New Zealand. And right now, it's valid through the 31st of May, 2019 for sales. And travel is going to be good from the 1st of November through the 31st of May of 19. One of the things that works out really good about this is the resort between low and high season. There's really not that much difference in the pricing. This is a great little resort. It's one of my favorites. I've had several stays there over the years. One of the things that I really like about it is the fact that the snorkeling on the beach or just off the beach across the way is really, really relaxing, and you will get to see quite a bit of stuff while you're out there. So it's a good deal. It's easy to combine a stay at Lagoon Breeze with a day trip out to Aitutaki, or if you wanted to extend to a longer stay, you could add an Aitutaki trip onto Lagoon Breeze and still have an extremely reasonably priced package. One of the other things that we do like to mention to people about both Lagoon Breeze and Crown Beach is you do arrive into Rarotonga really, really early Sunday morning. And there is a really great lagoon cruise where you can be taken to the resort, drop off your bags, picked up, and then go out on a lagoon cruise with a fish barbecue lunch and have just an amazing time out there on the lagoon, and then come back in and get all checked in. So it's really that the lagoon cruise is a great option to have. Now, the Crown Beach special is the stay 4, pay 5, as you can see, and that pricing is based on using the 1-bedroom garden villa. The upgrade rates are really, really reasonable, and you'll notice that we do have the availability to add an all-inclusive package. Now, that all-inclusive package does add standard alcoholic beverages. So when you're looking at people that say, well, I want to go to Mexico because I can stay at an all-inclusive, or I want to go to the Caribbean because I can stay in an all-inclusive, they can go here, have so much less in crowds, so much more intimacy, and still be all-inclusive. It makes it a really, really great honeymoon type of package, or if you're like me, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th honeymoon packages, all with the same wife.
Bob, I'm glad that you pointed out the $200 resort credit that sits with this particular property too. So the pricing is fantastic when you look at a stay 5, pay 4 with a $200 resort credit as well.
It's one of the my very first trip to Crown Beach was back when I was with Sunspots, and for some reason Rod didn't go on that particular trip, and I did, and it was just totally amazing. We happened to be there for the island night, and way back then it was so much fun.